We are connecting. And Nico, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Have you connected us over else?
Sorry.
Have you connected us on Facebook and everywhere else?
Yep, I'm about to.
Cool. Awesome. Let me know when it's connected. Hello, Mr. Ambassador. Good to see you. Thank you for making time for us today and sharing more about your beautiful journey of resilience, positivity, negotiation, creating impact, and so forth. Let's just wait until Nico connects us on Facebook and then we'll get started.
And we are live.
Amazing. Okay, so welcome, welcome, welcome. We have the one and only Marcelino Aviles, the Ambassador of Panama, logging in to share his story around resilience and not giving up, doing what we love, and negotiating our way around, because as we know, life is full of challenges on a daily basis. And we need to know what are our life goals and how can we navigate to be able to get there. And from my experience, and from the little bit or a lot that I've learned from Marcelino, I think there's so much that we can learn. So thank you, Ambassador, for joining us today and sharing more about your life journey, your success story, and also the challenges that you've had along the way. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much to the Company of Entrepreneurs and Paula for this invitation. For me, it's an honor to be talking about this very particular topic about the challenges from being student to becoming an ambassador.
Thank you, thank you. And Marcelino, 2 minutes before you logged in, we were just in a class, and Ashley sale and negotiation class, and we were learning about like, okay, how do you negotiate? How do you look at what the other person wants to hear, and how do you make sure that you have the right listening skills and the right communication skills to connect with everybody so that you can get to where you want to get in a way that we create an impact and a win-win situation. And from my experience of working around you over the last few years, I've seen that you do it better than anyone that I've ever seen. You are able to get anything approved at a corporate level, at a government level, at a student level. You are able to create the scholarship office at the Panama government. How is it that you do so well? How did you go from being a university student to the Ambassador of Panama so quickly and so successful? And how did you not give up along the way? How did you negotiate the wins along the way? Because I know your journey and I know the challenges that you've gone through. So how did you do it? And give us tips and how can we learn from you? Because we want to succeed as much as you do every day.
Well, thank you so much for seeing me as a leader and a person that can inspire other people. Definitely, the career that I choose was not easy. A lot of people in the world thinks that the diplomat is just a full of life, of cocktails and parties and having fancy life, but there is something that you can see in the pictures, but you don't have anything to hold the pictures behind. Um, I took a decision to start international relations because I wanted to travel the world and I wanted to give one of myself to other people. I remember when I took this decision, I knew that was a very tough one because usually this kind of career has to be tied to some kind of a political influences in most of the countries in the world. But then I didn't have that thing. But I said I will do it. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I was one of the first students when in my university, and especially in my career. I remember the first year when I was there, and I started to read all the books. I say I like it. I will travel all over the world through the books first, and then I will do it physically. My parents and my friends and many people say, no, don't lose your time with this kind of career because you need to be attached to our political influences. and you have to be running for any party in your country, or you have to be friends for somebody very with a lot of influentials. And even though I knew that, I just decided to do it because I knew that I can make it even in another way, another traditional ones that everybody does. Well, when I was in the university, I received a lot of comments, especially from the teachers, from my other colleagues of students, and say, "You're never gonna be a diplomat. You're never gonna make it." I just listen and just remember.
Okay, I have a question about that. So that's one of the topics that we're going to be learning over in Ashley's class today. How do you deal with rejection? How do you deal with the no? Because there's no's that mean a no. Like if a client can't afford your product, it is a no. But when they say you can't do it because you don't have the political connections, it doesn't mean a no. It just means you have to study harder and network more. So, how do you deal when you get a no, and how do you navigate? So, first, how do you tell your brain that yes, you can do it? And then, what steps do you put in place to achieve? Because everything you want, you get and you achieve. And I know the other side, the non photography social media side, I know that you work 24 hours to be able to achieve those results. So, how do you do it? What story do you tell in your mind? How do you prepare for meetings or the strategy? How do you do it and how do you do it so well? Please teach us.
The first things that you need to get in your personal life, you have to go away from everything because you're going to receive a lot of rejections, a lot of information negative in any aspect of your life. So what you have to think is what do you really want? And what I really want at that moment when I was a student, I say, I want to make an impact in the world and I want to travel all over the world and I'm going to help my people in Panama. So I really know what I needed and to be part of professionally happy and I never were thinking they're gonna do it immediately, but after that you have to create a strategy in yourself to try to get and achieve that goal. What I have to do? Well, first, have a good grades at the university. Second, try to get as much information possible from the teachers that were already a diplomats in that moment because I had professors that were already ambassadors or diplomats in some different countries. So I tried to get all that information done, how they did it, how was the way they did it. So take all that from you and then take notes. Then when you finish all that, because of course I finished university, I continue having people saying no, no, no. What do you have to do? They're going to tell you no anyway. Just put it aside and continue your path because you have a strategy, you have the steps to do it. What you have to do is well, number one, number two, number three, and number four. And once in a while time, you have to check if you have been doing good or not. If this one step is not working, trying to go to another step to see if you can get that one. And when you're negotiating, it's very important because you're in any part of your life, you're doing negotiation. When you live in a house and you have different people living with you and you want to sleep at 8 p.m. because tomorrow at 6 a.m. you have an interview or you want to go to a golf tournament or you want to play jacks with your friends at 6 a.m. You have to negotiate with your parents or with your brothers next to you and talk to them. Look, can you do this for me? Because this is a reason. So you always are selling what do you need for get successful in life to get into the jack to go into the golf tournament at 6 a.m. in the morning and be successful to be sleeping the 8 hours that you need. But some other people is going to say no. So, and then you have to give away some of you and you say, okay, I'm not going at 8, but I'm going at 9. And you think if you allow me to wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning because I have to sleep, I will help you with your homework tomorrow when I come back. What do you think? So every aspect in your life you have to be negotiating, but you have to pay attention what the people need in the other side to try to get all your benefits and everything get done and make a deal.
Yeah. And I think this is one part that people don't understand when it comes to negotiating is that you'll never get 100%. And if you do get 100% of what you win in the negotiation, the other person will feel like you've taken too much. And then it doesn't build a long term relationship or project or partnership. So I love what you've just shared. Negotiation doesn't mean getting a yes, it means winning in a way that both of you win, but both of you will eventually lose a little bit to be able to get that. Now, you're surrounded by some of the greatest global leaders. Who has been your biggest mentor over the last few years that helped you on the journey from student to ambassador?
This is gonna be probably some people they wanted to listen to bigger names, like the big famous name. But I'm gonna tell you, my biggest mentor, it's my mom. My mom, I come from a family that she is a person that she was a teacher. And I remember when I was a child, she used to wake up very early in the morning. And on Saturdays, they were the day that we have to wake up and help her to clean. You're gonna do the things with me or without me. But if we were without me, prepare yourself because you're gonna regret it because you're going to put your fine. It's your mother. So she makes the things done all the time. She considered herself as a powerful lady, and that image of herself that she said in her mind, I can do it, that doesn't matter. I have many steps to do it, I have many challenges, but I will do it. And that have been my biggest challenge, my biggest mentor I consider for my personal life because I always see her get what she needed. And I said, if she can make it, I can make it as well. She is of course, I had some other in the last years, probably in the 10 years I've been watching Robert Kiyosaki, which is very inspired person that teach you about the financial intelligence. And the last years, of course, everybody has been watching as well. Elon Musk, I like him because he's a visionary. He always watching what is going to be in the next 100 years. And that's the kind of things that I really like for my life because I know anything I'm gonna do now is gonna impact people in the future. And that's what I really want. Leave a legacy as a professional and as a human being.
Mm, I agree. And it's interesting because you and I, and also Ashley Veit, who's teaching this class this week, we all started our career in the hospitality sector, and you and I started at the Marriott, which we're so grateful for. We always say that that was the best university ever for us. Why is it so important to have so much work experience, especially starting in hospitality? And I know that most of the international students here in Australia, we all started in hospitality. I mean, I don't know if I can say all, but like 99% of us started in hospitality. Why is it so important to get that skill? Like, is it the emotional intelligence, cross cultural communication, negotiation? What is it that hospitality does that shapes us and builds the foundation for us to succeed as entrepreneurs, and hopefully, who knows, maybe some of us that are entrepreneurs will become ambassadors of our beautiful countries in the future.
When I left the university, one of the things I was looking for around for international organizations that I can have impact. And for coincidence, I got into the hotel industry. I remember when I was having this interview with Carlos Iago, my boss at that moment. He said, "You study international relations, and this is a hotel. You already learn how to deal with the different cultures and different backgrounds all over the world in your career. And in a hotel, you're going to have to deal with many people from all over the world. So different cultures, different languages, different way they look. So I learned three things from there, and I think that this is a really important. They helped me in the rest of my career. They in the later years as a diplomat was first you have to give a good service to everybody. That doesn't matter how they look, the way they dress, the way they perform herself. If you provide to any person a good service, you're going to have this person in your side. Second,
Amen.
always provide a good smile. A good smile can make and change everything. One of the things that have really impact me here in Australia, it's when you walk in Canberra or in some cities as well, you walk in and the people smile to you. A smile can change the life of, or the seconds of some people. You don't know if you're walking on the street and this person have challenges, just get divorced from their partner, or just have a situation in their family, or was just fired from work. If you walk in and you share a smile, you can change and give it a second of happiness to that person, just a little one. A smile can change many things. And when you work in a hospitality service, you always have to be smiling. Remember that my boss in that times always say, "What you always are smiling," and that's so good. When you getting into the plane and you travel 20 hours from one country to another, and you arrive in a hotel, and the hotel is just going to be like your temporary house, and you have a person with a grumpy face, or even the person doesn't want to talk to you, it's going to make the situation even worse because you're tired, you're grumpy, probably you lose your bags, or you don't have enough clothes, or probably it's in the night, it's raining and your clothes is a mess, and a person with a smile is give it to you, you're going to change totally.
I
I
remember a technique that I learned at the Marriott, and I think that you would have learned that as well. It was called the 5-3 meter rule. So whenever you see any guest or any like of your work colleagues 5 meters away, eye contact, and 3 minutes away, open and big smile. And it's something that I now do on a daily basis, without even realizing after the Marriott training. But it's so powerful, especially when you're because in this class we're learning about sales and negotiation. And it's just like, how can you expect to sell something if you don't love what you're doing and if you don't have a smile towards your customer and also smile towards the product? And I've seen like so many beautiful places that I've gone into that I didn't even feel like buying something, but the person loved so much the flavor of pizza or the light bulb that they were selling or the stereo or whatever it is, that you just like, you listen to the message from a different perspective and it creates this special bond. So yeah, so smile. And it's interesting because a lot of people don't see the non-verbal communication as part of the negotiation and sales, but it actually has more power than the actual words, because if you don't have that smile from the beginning, people block and they don't listen to anything from then onwards.
Of course, when you are negotiating, depending what part of the negotiation you are, you can be smiling or you can be a little bit serious. When you're negotiating, depending, for example, when you're in the free trade agreement, sometimes you don't have to show your feelings, because if you're negotiating, you cannot give it to the other part that probably is a yes or not. So you have to save it until the right moment to give your feelings. So the person needs to know, probably they cannot know, because after you are negotiating a free trade agreement, for example, I had opportunity to be in two free trade agreements in my life, three free trade agreements, one with the Indian countries and the United States, Peru and Panama, and another one with Panama and Israel. Sometimes you have to read the documents pretty carefully because one word can change everything. Depending on where you are, what's the stage of the negotiations, and then you can show your feelings or not. That's very important. So another things that I learned in the hotel industry and the hospitality is learn to serve other people. You have to be simple, and you can serve other people. That doesn't matter you're gonna be less or more than other ones. You're just learning. Everybody's a human being, and everybody deserves to be treated properly in a good way.
We have a question here from Oh My Ma. Hopefully I've said it right. Which university did you graduate from?
And
And I'll add on to that question. Did that actually make a difference to where you are right now?
yes, it's true. I study in the University of Panama. I have a Bachelor in International Relations, and I study again in the University of Panama with a master degree in international business. So, and then I did a project manager diploma there, and I did a social media diploma there. And that doesn't matter where you graduate. That doesn't matter where you get your education, because you can step forward and you can continue making your education in the way to make improve it and update it all the time.
Mhm.
Because everything depends on you, of course. If you graduate from one of these really prestigious universities, there is some points in the minds of the people when they're going to get the job that because they are coming from this prestigious university in one country or another is going to have more chance. No, that doesn't matter. The attitude and the positive things that you can put on the table and when you can deliver for an organization, for entrepreneurial skills that you're going to be on yourself, or for a private sector or public, that will make the difference. You are the one, you are the gold one, and you are the diamond that's going to bright and shine. But you have to make sure that you can make it. What are you going to change? I'm going to make one, two, three, four, five steps. Study everything what you really like. Don't study anything that you don't like or something because your parents they want to study. Probably you won't be so happy. But if you did it already, just go looking for your path and look study something that you really want. And at these times, before you couldn't say this, but today you can have diplomas from very prestigious university because the world is changing. And now you can have an online diploma or online degree or bachelor, even micro masters and so on from different prestigious university. And you don't have to live in your country or you don't have to be there. There's many opportunities. Look where we are today. We are doing this online and we have people from different countries connected right now. So you can do it yourself, but looking for exactly what you like. And that's when you're going to deliver for the world because you're going to have ability to leave a legacy and you will do your job easily and happier and all the results will come in the future easily for you.
You have what we call a growth mindset, that your mind is always positive, looking for opportunities, and you don't see a challenge as a challenge. You see a challenge as something that gets you stronger over time. If you could go back to day one of your career, like the first job you ever had, what would you tell little Marcelino, 18-year-old or maybe 20 years old? What advice would you give yourself from that time? And I know that every step we've taken, whether we made a mistake or not, it's worth it. That's what makes us who we are now. But what advice would you give yourself that we can learn from?
Um, the first things I remember when I was leaving the high school and then university, I was kind of young and I didn't know what's going to happen with my life. I knew what I want, but I didn't know. So, because the future you know now, but you don't know what's going to happen. So I would tell Marcelino, just calm down, focus, get your proposed, but first do a strategy. But what you have to do, forget a strategy, put it on a paper and realize exactly what you have to do. Focus yourself and do not distract from other things that you don't need it. Because when you are young, you are full of life, you think the world is perfect and you can do whatever you want, but then you get distracted and you sometimes forget of your main goal. And everybody has a different goals. My goal and professionally was to be a diplomat. I remember I put a date. Um, I put a date and I say, move yourself to do anything that you want and prove many things around. Was a TV host, I was an international model, and I did many different jobs. But at 30 years old, I'm going to become a diplomat. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to prepare myself all these years because at 30 years old, I'm going to become a diplomat. So I start to do all the things I really wanted, but at the same time, on parallel, I was preparing myself, reading books, reading news, getting everything about international relations, and learning how to get into diplomatic career of my country. They did an open contest every year, so I have to be pending when going to be the next contest because in that one I'm gonna get in. I remember I tried when I was 29 years old and I didn't get it. I fall. Um, but you know what? That fall helped me to continue learning. And 2 years, 3 years later, the contest was open again and I got one position. I remember it was the number 11 in the group. There were 10 positions and I was the number 11. And I got the position number 10 because one person that was in another country decided to leave and stay. He already was working in a foreign service and he decides to stay in the place he was working. He was a political appointed. And then the number 11 came to number 10. I remember that time when I get in there and I have to sign my document. I was really, really happy. And many people was laughing at me and say, oh, you were 11 and now you're number 10. Ah, you just had lucky. And I just listened. And you know what? From all my promotion, I'm the only one have been the head of mission of one important country. The rest are still waiting. So what you have to do is just focus on what you really want and leave always a legacy. As a diplomat, you need to make an impact. But in my case, which I'm a diplomat, but any profession, in any environment that you're going to do, you need to leave a legacy and do it well. My father used to tell me, if you want to be a cleaner of the streets, be the best cleaner. You're gonna clean one street. The next day, somebody's gonna come and say, "Who cleaned this street?" And you're gonna raise your hand and you're gonna say, "I cleaned this street." And then the supervisor is gonna say, "What did you do? Because this street is so shiny that I need that everybody cleans the street in this way." And I explained to him. And then the next day he's gonna say to the rest of the crew, this guy now is the supervisors because he is the one who's gonna teach you how to clean the street. So what do you do in your life? Do it properly. If you know that you won't be able to do it properly, just next step, move to another things that you think that you can do it better, and you can do it with passion, and it's something you like.
So we've got one final question because we've just run out of time. So why Australia? So I'm guessing they're asking, oh, Maima is asking us, why Australia? I guess as an investor, you don't get to choose the country, you get transferred. But why is Australia such a great country to study, to live, to develop your entrepreneurial venture or also your career? Why is it that you love Australia so much?
Well, yes, you already said we as in country like Panama, you don't have the possibility to choose the place where you're going to be working. I know there's so many countries in the world. You have like three countries, and then you choose one of the countries, or even you have six possibilities, and then they try to help you in one of those possibilities you're looking for. In our case, we don't have. It's just life and destiny. All the positions I have been in the different countries I have been working is just because the life guide me in that way. But I gotta tell you, when I arrived to Australia, the first thing that you have to do when you arrive to any country in the world, and I said at the beginning of the conversation, is you have to study the culture. You have to study what you have around. You have to be sure exactly where, what floor are you walking. So you have to study the potentials, the threats, what are your possibilities. And because remember, you always have to link your country with a new country. I discovered that Australia is a big country with a small population, and like they're so far away, they discover they can be something good. That's why when you're walking on the street, you find the people that are very nice and they smile to you because they want to be friendly. Because who gonna come if before the technology, before the airplanes, before the transportation is with so modern, who's gonna come to be in this part of the world that looks so far away? And it's like a diamond and a shiny in the Pacific Ocean that nobody knows. So it's willing to know now that Australians have been working pretty hard for many decades, and not all the world do. They discovered one thing, and I really appreciate they did it: the education. When you educate, when you deliver information, when you share your knowledge, you can make your country big. And I really, really get impressed that it took people from all over the world, the best academy, professors and stars in education environment, and putting in in their universities, and now they are exporting education, like Academy of Entrepreneur. You guys now exported educations and give it the opportunity to Latin America and other countries in the world to know the quality of the education that you can deserve here in Australia. So that's really, really impressive. And I think some other countries most guide the Australian example because education is something that can change the life of the people. I believe in dedication firmly because, as I said at the beginning, I didn't have the opportunities at the beginning of my career to study in a very prestigious university. But with of the time, you know that education can change your life. I had the opportunity to meet the president of the one of the most important miners here in Australia. Um, he is from Colombia, and he told me that he comes and he studied in a Colombian university, but he works pretty hard. He got into the way that he was continuing educating himself. Today, he's the president of one of the most important mining companies in the world. And everything came through education. So that's why I think it's education. It's so important for the life of any person in the world. That's why we, as a world, we have to work together to try to deliver quality education to all level of life. 1 week ago, we just made a webinar with the net of joint people of the development goals of the United Nations, which is based in Argentina, Panama, and Mexico. And we were talking about the quality education. And I think there's many people in the world still, they don't have enough education. And some part of the world, if you're a lady, if you're a girl, sometimes you don't have access to education. Sometimes you need to learn to serve in your house to become a good wife. And I think that education is so important because the ladies and the women, they can make a so important contribution to the world. We just can't see during the 2020 the places that have the opportunity to have women leaders have been less affected during the pandemic, or they have a minister of health as a leader controlling or helping or giving the advices. Why? Because a lady knows she has a lady already is a mother sometimes. A lady is a sister. A lady by themselves, they know how to take care of others. So we have a lot of stakeholders in the world to work together to make more equal and the rights uh, correct for everybody with the same opportunities. But that's why I like to share my knowledge and like to share what I have been uh, working and learn all my life because it's important to share and it's important that all the people know that to get to the top, you always have to be working pretty hard to get there.
Yeah, it's giving a lesson. I think the magic word is collaboration. So when we are learning about something is we're collaborating between schools and students and entrepreneurs. But Australia has succeeded so much over the last few years because we collaborate with every country that opens doors towards working with Australia, and we embrace them and always try to make it a win-win situation in a way that we are collaborating for the long term. So thank you so much, dear ambassador, for making time for us. We're super honored. Thank you for sharing your life. You make it sound like it's so easy, but we know that it takes 10,000 strategies to progress every month in a role like yours that is making the world a better place. So thank you so much for sharing your time, your skills, your knowledge, your stories with us. And for all of you that are watching here with us, I can see Lisa sending us thank you messages. I've just put here on the side, the chat box, the ambassador's LinkedIn, so you can reach out. He's very young, collaborative, open-minded. So send him your messages and he'll always be there to support you guys so you guys can succeed as much as he did. Thank you, Marcelino. Big hugs and thanks for everybody that logged in from around the world. And then Nico, if you could please connect us back on the other Zoom so we can continue the class. Big hugs and happy Monday. Stay safe. Lots of love. Thank you,
Thank you so much.
guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you to all to be connected.
Congratulations, Ambassador Marcelino.
Thank
Hi,
you.
Paula.
Bye, Rasier. Bye,
See,
Anton. Bye. See
bye,
you.
Marcelino.
Bye, Anton. Thank you for
Good
connecting.